The news broke like a thunderclap in Beijing, sending shockwaves through the corridors of power and industry alike. China and Russia had signed a historic pact, one that would reshape the future of aviation and global alliances. The two nations would join forces to build a new, world-class jet engine for China's C919 airliner, a project that had long been a symbol of China's ambitions to compete with the West. Codenamed Dragon Bear, this project was more than a business deal. It was a declaration of technological independence, a bold step toward self-reliance in a field long dominated by others. For decades, Western companies like Boeing, Airbus, GE, and Rolls-Royce have dominated the skies, setting the standards and controlling the technology that powers modern flight. Now that duopoly was being challenged in a way never seen before, as a new contender emerged on the global stage. At a press conference, officials from China's COMAC and Russia's United Engine Corporation spoke of shared goals, mutual trust, and a future free from Western pressure and influence. The message was clear: a new axis of technological ambition was forming, outside the Western sphere, built on cooperation and a shared vision for the future. The implications were immediate and profound. In boardrooms from Seattle to Toulouse, executives realized this was no longer about China simply assembling planes with Western parts and systems. It was about building a rival ecosystem. The Dragon Bear project aimed to create a fully independent alternative, one that could eventually supply not just China and Russia, but potentially other nations seeking freedom from Western technology. The new engine, tentatively named the PD-300, promised to match Western performance and efficiency, backed by the political and financial might of both nations. It was a technical challenge, but also a statement of intent. The timing was no accident. After years of trade tensions, sanctions, and escalating competition, both Moscow and Beijing were determined to break free from Western technological dependency and assert their own path. The C919, until now, symbolized that dependency, flying with engines from a GE Safran joint venture, a constant reminder of reliance on foreign expertise. Dragon Bear was designed to sever that final link, replacing the last Western component with homegrown innovation and engineering. It was a bid for complete technological sovereignty, a move that would inspire others and potentially shift the balance of power in global aviation. The world of global aviation would never be the same. A new chapter had begun, and the skies were opening to new possibilities. The shockwaves from Beijing hit Western stock markets hard. Shares in Boeing, Airbus, GE, and Rolls-Royce tumbled. For years, these companies were the undisputed kings of the sky, protected by immense barriers to entry. The Russo-Chinese alliance is a direct assault on that foundation. A state-sponsored, geopolitically motivated challenge. The C919, powered by its own engine, would become a direct rival, not a customer. Every C919 sold with a Dragon Bear engine is a sale lost for Boeing, Airbus, and their engine suppliers. The threat extends beyond new aircraft sales. It targets the lucrative business of maintenance, repair, and spare parts. By building their own engine, China and Russia aim to capture this entire value chain, locking the West out of the world's largest aviation market. For Western governments, this is not just economic, it's a strategic nightmare. The drive behind this project is rooted in geopolitics. For Russia, years of Western sanctions exposed the dangers of relying on foreign technology. China's wake-up call came with the trade war and restrictions on companies like Huawei. Both nations fear that, in a crisis, the West could ground their fleets by cutting off engine supplies. The Dragon Bear engine is their insurance policy, a declaration that they won't let national ambitions be held hostage. For China, it's a milestone in its Made in China 2020. For Russia, it's a chance to revive its aerospace legacy and share the costs of modern engine development. Together, they're building not just an engine, but a symbol of a new, multipolar world order. The Dragon Bear alliance merges China's manufacturing might with Russia's engineering expertise. China brings vast resources, a skilled workforce, and mastery of large-scale production. Russia contributes deep knowledge of jet propulsion, advanced metallurgy, and decades of engine design experience. The division of labor is clear. Russia leads on the core design and hot section. China handles the cold section, system integration, and mass production. This partnership lets both leapfrog years of development. China gains access to Russian know-how. Russia gains a partner with capital and industrial scale. Together they can invest billions, build state-of-the-art factories and attract top talent. It's a marriage of Russian engineering and Chinese scale, aimed at breaking Western supremacy. The stakes couldn't be higher. The Dragon Bear project's ambition goes far beyond the creation of a single jet engine. It represents a bold vision for the future of aerospace, one that seeks to fundamentally reshape how these two nations approach high-tech manufacturing and collaboration. The ultimate goal is to build a 100% domestic supply chain, one that is completely insulated from the outside world and immune to external pressures or disruptions. Modern jet engines are marvels of engineering, made from over 30,000 intricate parts, which are typically sourced from a vast network of global suppliers. The Western model is highly efficient, but it's also fragile, vulnerable to sudden geopolitical shocks, trade wars, and export bans that can bring production to a halt. China and Russia are determined to replicate this complex web of suppliers, but within their own borders or among trusted allies, reducing reliance on potentially hostile nations. The biggest technical hurdle is mastering the production of single crystal turbine blades, a process that remains a closely guarded Western secret and is essential for high-performance engines. Both nations are pouring resources into research, investing heavily to perfect this technology and scale up production to meet their ambitious goals. This drive is a direct response to Western export controls, which have long been wielded as powerful tools of foreign policy, restricting access to critical technologies. The Dragon Bear Alliance is determined to render those controls obsolete, building resilience and independence into their supply chains. If they succeed, they'll create a true closed-loop system for advanced manufacturing, where every component is sourced, built, and assembled internally. This would not only guarantee the C919's future, but also provide a powerful template for other high-tech industries seeking self-sufficiency and security. As a result, the world's technological blocs are hardening, with each side racing to secure its own future in an increasingly divided global landscape. For Europe, the Beijing announcement is a seismic event. Airbus, long reliant on China's market, now faces an existential threat. A C919 with a domestic engine is a state-subsidized rival, poised to dominate China and friendly markets. Chinese airlines will be directed to buy Chinese, shutting Airbus out of its biggest growth market. The ripple effects threaten thousands of high-skilled jobs across Europe's supply chain. The GE Safran partnership, which produces the LEAP engine, is especially vulnerable. Europe's strategy of engagement with China is failing. Instead of a compliant customer, China is now a systemic rival. The era of the Airbus-Boeing duopoly is over. Europe is suddenly on the defensive. Europe faces a crossroads. The first option: compete fiercely, investing in next-generation aircraft to outpace the C919. The second: limited cooperation, partnering on non-critical components to retain some market share, though this risks empowering a future rival. The third: do nothing, and risk managed decline as China's market closes and Airbus's share shrinks. Europe's choice will be shaped by its relationship with the US. A united transatlantic front could out-innovate the Russo-Chinese alliance and protect the duopoly. But recent divergences complicate this. Some in Europe may prefer a middle course, wary of US-led confrontation. In this high-stakes game, indecision may be the most dangerous choice. The future of Europe's aviation industry hangs in the balance. The independent C919, powered by the strategic partnership between China and Russia, often called the Dragon Bear Alliance, has the potential to fundamentally redraw the map of global aviation. This new jet represents more than just a technological achievement. It signals a shift in the balance of power in the skies. China's airlines are projected to purchase thousands of new jets in the coming years, orders that will now increasingly go to Comac, the state-backed manufacturer behind the C919. This marks a significant move away from reliance on Western aircraft makers. This massive domestic demand alone virtually guarantees the C919's commercial success within China, while also ensuring the development of a robust support and maintenance network across the country. Building on this strong foundation, the C919 will set its sights on international markets, especially targeting nations within China and Russia's spheres of influence, such as Africa, Central Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America, where Western dominance is less entrenched. For these developing countries, the C919 may be offered as part of larger infrastructure packages, bundled with airport construction, financing, and political goodwill, making it an attractive alternative to Western jets. Yet skepticism remains high. Airlines around the world place enormous value on reliability, safety, and the decades of trust that Western companies like Boeing and Airbus have built, along with their extensive global support networks. Russia and China therefore face a steep uphill battle to win international certification and widespread acceptance for their aircraft, especially in markets with strict regulatory standards. In response, the Dragon Bear Alliance may seek to establish its own certification standards, encouraging friendly or aligned nations to adopt these new benchmarks and further challenging the Western aviation order. If this happens, global aviation could split into two distinct blocs, each with its own aircraft, standards, and regulatory systems, making the industry more fragmented than ever before. The seamless global travel network we take for granted today may soon fragment along new geopolitical lines, reshaping how and where the world flies. This contest is about more than airplanes. It's about rival technological blocs. The 21st century is being shaped by competition between a Western bloc and a new Eurasian bloc led by China and Russia. The C919 engine is a declaration of technological independence. If successful, it will prove there's an alternative path to advanced industrialization outside the Western order. This could inspire other nations to hedge their bets, navigating between competing spheres. The globalized world of shared standards is fracturing. Western companies and governments must adapt, investing in research and protecting intellectual property. The competition could spark innovation, but also risks a techno-nationalist world of parallel inefficient systems. The battle for the skies is a proxy for a larger struggle over the future world order. As the Dragon Bear engine takes shape, we are witnessing the forging of the 21st century's technological landscape.